Bitch, I'm God, I'm the Alpha and Omega. I'm the ancient of the days. I'm the Rahman Rahim. And you don't know where I come, you don't know from where I came. All you know is I am one with many aspects, different names. Then one day the thought formed into a word inside my brain. Then I said let it be. Then next thing I heard a bang. Then I split up into infinite dimensions with a chain. Now we're all interlinked, we are all one and the same.
Another movie is coming out in a couple weeks now, Coming to America 2. We all love Coming to America, the original version, the legendary cast that was in there: Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall. Who else is in there? James, not James.
Leslie Jones.
Yeah.
Michael Blackbird has a cameo, which is well deserved.
Absolutely. A lot of people, it's a mixed reaction because a lot of people don't think it's going to live up to the original. I think that we should give it a chance because of the legend that are in it. But what do you think about Coming to America 2? Do you think it's going to live up to it?
I think there's going to be some moments. Listen, I'm like everybody else. I'm a diehard Eddie Murphy guy, and Eddie Murphy and I share the same birthday and the same zodiac sign. So, and of course, he was my inspiration since I'm an 80s baby that really made me want to get into comedy. So in my eyes, Eddie is king. Eddie's one of the GOATs. And two of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies, Coming to America and 48 Hours, were both two movies that I felt like, why did he wait so long? The crazy is when you see the sequel to 48 Hours, which is called Another 48 Hours, this nigga still wears the exact same suit he wore 20 years ago. And it fits. Even though it's clearly heavier and chunkier.
Right.
So I would just ask the question, why didn't those movies come out way sooner? I mean, even comedically, I've read some comments and I thought about it. I'm sure a lot of people thought about it because it was the most obvious. Part of the funniest scenes in Coming to America was the barbershop with the characters that Arsenio created. Now, the first 48 Hours, I think, was like 20-something years ago, maybe more. And them niggas was old then, so I don't know what they drinking, but they still living.
126 years old, still doing it. Cut hair and joking is dope.
I know.
Let me ask you this, because we see how politically correct the world has gotten, and you see that I think personally it's kind of affected comedy to some degree. We hear Eddie Murphy wants to come back, but we all know and love the Eddie Murphy from what we saw in Delirious and Raw. And anytime Eddie Murphy's ever on set or on the stage, do you think that him coming back, he would give us the same Eddie, just an evolved way, or do you think the politically correct world that we live in wouldn't allow him to?
I think Eddie would give us Eddie, but he certainly couldn't give us the Eddie, not from a cancel culture, a fear of a cancel culture, or a political correctness standpoint. Just from the fact that he's I think 60 now. So, he's evolved. He can't be that same dude that he was that wore the red leather suit and the purple leather suit. So I don't think his edge has to change. I don't think who he ultimately is has to change. And I would be curious to know that, what kind of, would he toe the line? Would he cross it? I think that's one of the most intriguing things about the idea of him coming back. But again, I wouldn't expect him to sell us short in terms of who he is as a comedian. I would more or less be concerned about, his growth in terms of his maturity and where he is in his life at 60 years old versus where he was when he was 20.
Another comedy great, Bill Cosby is one that, I'm sure you watch coming up. We all watch coming up, one of the legends. How do you feel about his current situation? And do you think that it's just what's going on with Bill Cosby right now, him being in prison at such an old age?
Listen, justice is justice. And we all have females in our lives, mothers, sisters, daughters, aunties, grandmothers, wives, girlfriends. So at the end of the day, I always think about it like this. What if that was a female in your life that you love that was on the receiving end of that cocktail, and was done wrong and done illegally? So I don't think that there's ever a time limit on justice. However, I just say, if we're going to be dealing out justice, make sure we deal them cards evenly, because sometimes the same rules that apply to us don't apply to other people. So I'm just saying, if we're gonna go down that road, let's just be fair with it.
Well said.
Indeed. You know, the first time I remember seeing you on screen was on Mad TV. Was my man Dollar Bill Montgomery, and then I remember seeing you on Jerry Maguire. When did you get into comedy? When did you get into acting?
I started when I was 14, same age as Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
And had been a lot of the clubs in Jersey, Terminal D in Newark, Club 88 in East Orange, the Peppermint Lounge with Bill Bellamy. And then, long story short, Def Jam 16, Showtime at the Apollo 17. Moved out to LA when I was 17, and everything kind of took off from there.
Now, were you doing impressions then too, or were you? How was your comedy back? Okay. When did you realize you could do that?
Impressions started off as mostly what I was doing, but when you look at somebody again like Eddie Murphy, one of the things that made him so spectacular was he wasn't a one-trick pony. Yes, he could do impressions, but he also could do material. And some dudes are either great impressionists, but their material is a little soft, or some dudes have phenomenal material, but their impressions aren't that good. Eddie was able to marry the two, and I watched him and studied him for so long, and wanted to make sure, like him, I never came off like a one-trick pony.
Right now, you got a list. I mean, a laundry list of people that you impersonated. Was there ever a time, where somebody got angry with you, for impersonating them and confronted you or something like that?
No, nobody ever really confronted me, but I remember when I did Best Damn Sports Show, and Mike Tyson was a guest, and I didn't want to do it because this was Crazy Mike. This ain't the new Feng Shui Mike. So my man Michael Irvin, who's one of the biggest sweethearts in the world, man. That dude got such a good heart. He's such a good dude, nothing but love, and he showed me so much love. But Mike kept egging me on that day to do Mike in front of Mike, and I kept trying to tell Mike Irvin, "Hey, shut the fuck up. This nigga eats kids, or he threatens to." So Mike just kept, putting the spotlight on me, and finally I did it. And Mike kind of received it, but he kind of didn't. It was that weird moment where it was like he felt like he was next to a lion that was unchained. So, I wanted to choose my steps wisely because I didn't want him to react the wrong way.
Was there a time with DMX you met him? He had a problem with it?
Yeah, Jay-Z was doing a concert at the Staples Center, and I remember around that time I had produced my first comedy album, and I went over to the Staples Center because actually Method Man and Redman was a guest on Mad TV that week, so they were also performing on the bill with them, and so they invited me to come with them to hang out. So everybody's backstage: Busta Rhymes, Snoop, Meth, Red, and I got a chance to see DMX, and I told him.